My sister, who sacrificed 9 years of her youth for me, was at a fateful crossroads, love or family. Now, after tears and deep heart-to-heart confessions, we have found strength in our eternal love. I'm a disabled 21-year-old male. I live with my older sister who's 27. I've been a paraplegic since I was a kid as a result of an accident. Our remaining parent, our dad, is pretty old and sick. He's in an old folks' home. My sister takes me to see him occasionally. My sister is pretty much my full-time carer. She has her own job which she works to support both of us, and when she's not on her job, she's usually taking care of me. She's had a very serious boyfriend for 9 years. They've been in a relationship since she was 18. It's always been a very serious relationship as far as I can tell. He's a really good guy and he's always been nice to me. He also hasn't shied away from offering financial help once in a while. I know my sister has always dreamt of marriage. We talk about it so much, me and her, ever since we were kids. We do play weddings. She would always imagine the day she would get married, spend hours looking at bridal dresses. Even as an adult, she would fantasize about getting married and spend a lot of the time looking at bridal dresses, talking about her dream wedding, what kind of house she'd like to have. She had names picked out for the kids since she was a kid herself, and she's always stuck with those names. So yeah, she's always dreamed of getting married and having a family for a long time. Her current boyfriend has been with her for so long and has been so good to her, he would always be the one to marry her. And I'd be happy for her. Finally she'd have someone to take care of her instead of her having to take care of me all the time. Well, that all came crumbling down. She returned home one day a complete mess, crying and pouring her eyes out all over the place. She told me they'd broken up, it was over. She was so sad, oh so sad, it was heartbreaking to see. It was like a dagger in my heart to see her crying and upset like that, and I felt so all I could offer were meaningless words. She wouldn't tell me why. I figured she just didn't want to talk about it. After a few days, she still didn't want to talk about. She was still incredibly upset, crying a lot. I told her I'm her brother. I may be physically disabled, but my heart and mind still work perfectly. She can talk to me about anything. Very reluctantly and with pushing, she opened up about it. She told me her boyfriend had proposed to her. I told her that's excellent. Why did they break up? She had always wanted to get married and had been waiting years for this. She told me they had talked about it, and her boyfriend wanted her to move in with him. They would find a separate carer for me to look after. They would still see me occasionally, but I would not visit them, and my sister would no longer be my carer at all. My sister told me she couldn't accept that, and that was the offer on the table as her boyfriend wanted it. She said she couldn't accept it. They couldn't reconcile their different wants, and they broke up. I told her she's crazy. She should have chosen her boyfriend. I know she loved him so much and he was crazy about her. She should have gone and gotten married. She can stay tied to me forever. She should live her own life and have her own family. She was still crying heavily, and she told me she realized that she would never be able to have that. All that stuff she wanted as a kid, to be a bride, have a wedding, have a family, none of it would ever happen. She would be taking care of me forever. I insisted to her, telling her she didn't need to take care of me forever, she should live her own life. She said no, that's what she wants, that's the way it has to be. She would have it no other way. When I kept insisting, she said no, that's it, she's in charge, she makes her own life decisions and I should stop telling her how to live her life. She got angry at me and I quickly apologized. She said it's okay, but I could tell she was really upset and in a bad mood. Why is she doing this to herself? I don't understand. Doesn't she see that I don't want her to sacrifice herself like this? Why did she just give up her boyfriend of 9 years like that? She loved him so much and he loved her, so why did she just push him away like that? Why is she hurting herself like that? I don't want her to be hurting herself just for my sake. I never asked her to make this sacrifice of herself. I told her I wouldn't mind getting another carer for me. She said no, it's her, it has to be her, it's her job, it's her duty to me and to our family, she has to take care of me always. She wouldn't have it any other way no matter how much I try to reason. I hate myself so much right now. I've never hated being disabled more than right now in my life. I feel like a baby or something, like a useless animal. I feel like a ball and chain, like a burden tying her down to the ground and preventing her from living her own life. All I want her to do is to be happy and live her life and be happy and beautiful on her wedding day like she's always wanted, not stuck forever taking care of her disabled brother. I wish I could just die to free her of her burden. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't seriously considered just killing myself so she could finally be free and pursue her own life. I'm not just saying that, I'm serious. I know she'd mourn me for a while, even a few years, but after that she'd move on and get married and live her life like she's always wanted. It might be the only way she ever knows true happiness. I tried to convince her, but she seems determined to bog herself down like this. I don't understand. She's not being reasonable, she's not looking out for what's best for herself. Why is she doing this? How can I get her to focus on herself and her own life? Please, guys, help me out. How can I talk some sense into her? How can I convince her to put her needs ahead of my own and to go focus on her life mainly so she can live the life she's always wanted instead of being chained down to me? How can I convince her of this? Please help, I feel so desperate and sad for her. Comment where Up has replied, we got caught. Can you contact a social worker to work as a mediator between the two of you? So that you can get the care you need but still maintain a relationship with her in which she is just your sister, not your carer? Oop, absolutely, there are many options. I discussed it with her and told her I could easily find programs that would provide a carer, albeit with added expenses, so my sister no longer has to be my carer and she can go and live her own life. She wasn't interested. She is absolutely stubborn and determined. She seems to have it stuck in her head that she has to be my carer permanently. I don't know why. Update, okay, so this is an update to the post I made 2 nights ago. I just want to first of all say thank you so much to all those of you who posted extremely kind and heartwarming comments. That was amazing of you, thank you so much. I'm also feeling much better now. I understand things much clearer and talked it over with my sister. It seems I was confused and in the heat of the moment there was a lot of misunderstanding. I have talked it all over with my sister, and we are both feeling much better and brighter now, and we agree things may have turned out for the best. I now realize, after my sister explained it to me, that he was not right for her, even though they had been together so long. I guess the length of their relationship had left me with a false impression. Firstly, as my sister explained it, it seems he didn't say I couldn't visit at all, as I had thought she meant, but that I just couldn't visit whenever I wanted to. They'd set times and schedules for when I could visit to ensure I wasn't over all the time interrupting and interfering with their lives. However, it seems my sister didn't like this at all. She said she realized her boyfriend had a problem with me and wanted to place some distance between her and me, and she wasn't okay with that at all. I told her I thought she loved him. She said she thought she did too, but she knows her priorities in life, and she is old enough and mature enough to be able to decide what she wants from life and what her priorities are. I told her I thought she'd always wanted to get married and have children and a family ever since she was young. She explained to me, she still does to a certain extent, but only if the conditions are right. She said that she was a different person when she was younger. Now that she's older, her ideals and priorities had changed. She said that if she does get married, it's basically like what one commenter described as a package deal. I'd have to be included in the family too, and I'd have to live them and be part of their family full-time. She said if any potential husband couldn't accept that, then he could get stuffed and she didn't want him. That's basically what she thinks of her now ex-boyfriend, and she said she feels much more positive about her future now that he's gone. She said while she was with him, she was always feeling unsure about what the future held in relation to her and me, but now that she's made her firm decision, she knows she'll never let go of me. I asked her, what if this means that she'll never get married? What if it means that she never ends up finding a guy who's okay with all this and is willing to settle down with her with me in the fray? She said if that's the case, then so be it. As she explained it, she basically said I'm her family now, I exist and I'm the most important thing to her. She won't sacrifice me for a hypothetical husband and hypothetical children who don't yet exist but may one day. She said priority number 1 for her will always be me and taking care of me throughout my life and disability. She couldn't imagine living her life without it. I told her, but didn't she feel she was severely limiting herself by chaining herself to me? Didn't she feel she was severely restricting her opportunities in life and what she could become? She explained that her years with me and taking care of me had helped form part of her identity. Taking care of me now is part of her identity and character, it's one of the things she lives for. I found that amazing, but she said she could have it no other way. I provide to her just as much as she provides to me, she said, and perhaps even more. I told her she was exaggerating, but she insisted it was absolutely true. She explained how the mere fact of her looking after me, and her taking care of me, day in, day out, brings so much joy and happiness to her life. She doesn't know how she could ever live without it, and to her it's so much more important than the possibility of having a husband or children. I found it difficult to wrap my head around that. I joke that I really can't imagine that it's always that fun, especially when she's, say, wiping shit from my ass or something. She just laughed and explained how sometimes something that can superficially seem gross, disgusting or painful can still be beautiful and cherished when you look at the love involved. She used the example of a mother giving birth. After 9 months of sickness and swollen body, she has her body ripped open, there's blood everywhere, screaming and crying, and it's the most intense physical pain of her life. But at the end of it all, it's still beautiful because it's an act of love and she endures all that pain to bring to life someone whom she will love forever. So yes, even acts like wiping shit from my ass, as gross and disgusting as it may seem to some, is in of itself an act of love and an example of how much she, as a sister, cherishes me as her brother, and the lengths she will go to as a result of that relationship. And that, I think, is beautiful and true love. So now I have a completely new outlook on her and our life, it's much more positive and I no longer see myself as a burden or a chain. She helped me realize my own self-worth and value. I'm not just some disabled guy in a wheelchair that needs help, I'm a brother and I provide love, friendship, and value to this amazing, beautiful, kind-hearted woman I am so proud to call my sister. I no longer have any thoughts about ending my life at all, because I realize how much I am worth to her and how much I mean to her, and how much it would hurt her if I do that, and I could never bear to do that. So I just thought I'd share that update with you all. After all those incredibly warm and supportive comments you gave me were so uplifting. I can honestly say, even though I may be physically disabled, I consider myself to have this amazing gift because I'm blessed with love, and this love is the most amazing thing in the world. I can't imagine living without it. Thank you all so very much.